welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about iron and specifically how to get enough iron during your pregnancy if you are plant-based or vegan like me. So I am currently pregnant and I'm 26 weeks and I am going to be having some bloods taken in a couple of weeks to check my iron levels again, since I had them done at booking, which was at 10 weeks. So iron is obviously very important to everybody, but especially when you're pregnant, your iron stores can end up being a bit low, especially as we head into the third trimester of pregnancy, when the baby is really just like taking everything that they need and not necessarily leaving enough for you. So anemia is a possibility when you are pregnant, but it can be avoided, and not just by taking iron supplements, which is often what's recommended. If, like me, you prefer to try and adjust your diet, you can definitely do it. This is my third vegan pregnancy. The first time I was pregnant, I was not vegan, and I did have quite low iron levels, and I chose to adjust my diet, which, yes, did include eating a little bit more meat, but I was able to successfully increase my iron levels to a point where I didn't need any supplementation. During my second pregnancy, where I was vegan, I actually had no issues with iron whatsoever because I knew that it could be an issue, and I developed a smoothie recipe which I will include in the description below. It's really delicious and it doesn't include any leafy greens. We pretty much all know Popeye, right? Who ate a ton of spinach and got really strong? Well, there's some truth to that. Spinach does contain iron, but there are lots of other things that contain iron. However, most of the time people will talk about dark green leafy veg as an option for increasing your iron. Chances are, though, kale smoothie isn't going to be something that you're craving during pregnancy. I mean, we're all different and sometimes cravings can be weird, and maybe you love kale smoothies, but for me, I have found during my pregnancies, leafy green veg is like the last thing I want. So I came up with something that would boost my iron and taste delicious at the same time. I'm just going to go through a few of the top iron sources for vegans that I have been able to find online, and then I will tell you the ones that I have been focusing on, the ones that I have been craving and finding very easy to pick up and eat. Some of them might surprise you a little bit because they're not necessarily included in some of the top 10, but I'll go through that in a minute. Obviously, these numbers are somewhat approximate and they will vary a little bit, but generally speaking, on average, this is what these things will contain. So nuts and seeds, coming out on top is sesame at 14.6 milligrams per 100 grams and pumpkin at 8.1 to 8.8 milligrams per 100 grams. So it's pretty high. So you can sprinkle sesame seeds on your food. You could get pumpkin seeds and do the same. You could toast them and have them on salads. You could have pumpkin seed butter, although it's quite expensive, but you can make it yourself. Next is legumes and soy. So tofu is approximately 5.4 milligrams per 100 grams and lentils approximately 4.2 milligrams per 100 grams. It didn't really specify which kind of lentils, so take your pick. Veg and fruit, dried peaches or dried apricots, approximately 4.4 to 6.5 milligrams per 100 grams. And then obviously you've got your dark green leafy vegetables as well. Other sources might be blackstrap molasses, which is actually really quite high in iron. So per tablespoon, approximately 4.7 milligrams, which is really high. Some of those things I have pretty regularly: tofu, pumpkin seeds, beans and legumes, and I do actually eat dried apricots quite a lot just for the iron. You can obviously research this yourself and you can decide to include foods that are rich in iron for your pregnancy. Things that I have been reaching for lately have been dried apricots. I prefer the unsulfured ones, so those are the ones that look brown, not orange. And I actually have been getting these like semi-dried ones, and they are so delicious. I could eat a whole bag. I probably shouldn't, because I would probably spend a lot of time in the bathroom the following day because I eat a lot of fiber, but they do have a bit of a reputation. Cashews, raw cashews, I have been really enjoying as a kind of savory, crunchy source of iron. They're actually surprisingly high, approximately 6.7 milligrams per 100 grams. That's pretty high. More recently, I've been kind of switching it up and I've gone back to dates, so medjool dates specifically. They didn't come up as the source of iron, but I used them a lot before and I had good results. So it's saying that medjool dates typically have 0.9 milligrams of iron per 100 grams, which isn't, you know, compared to everything else, really very low. But they're very good for you, and they are supposed to help in later pregnancy, apparently, to do with softening the cervix and maybe helping your body get ready for labor. So it doesn't hurt to have them. Cacao. I have been going back to cacao, so I've been making myself drinks of hot cacao, and I've been including it in smoothies and stuff. So cacao per 100 grams is approximately 13.9 milligrams of iron. So it's pretty high. The apricots dried are approximately 2.66 milligrams to 6.3 milligrams per 100 grams. So that's quite a range. So yeah, I have been reaching for those things. Now, a quick thing about plant-based iron, which is different to iron you get from animal products, which is called heme iron. Heme iron is more easily absorbed by the body, and non-heme iron needs a little bit more encouragement to boost absorption. The easy way around this is to boost the absorption by also consuming vitamin C rich foods, which, you know, that's really easy to come by. Bell peppers, specifically red ones and yellow ones, strawberries, papaya, pineapple, citrus fruits, dark green leafy vegetables, white potatoes. There's lots of vitamin C to be had. So as long as you're also increasing your vitamin C intake alongside increasing your iron intake, then you should be boosting the absorption. Things that reduce the absorption or block the absorption of iron are actually tea and coffee. So specifically the tannins in tea and coffee block the absorption of iron, and also dairy can have the same effect. So what I suggest you do is avoid having tea, coffee or dairy sort of half an hour before or half an hour after consuming your iron rich foods with vitamin C. So you may basically want to make sure maybe you're having it like over lunch or over breakfast with orange juice or something. That's basically what I did. I would have a meal and I would have orange juice with it. I haven't been able to have orange juice because it is actually too acidic for me in pregnancy. So I've been choosing pineapple juice instead, or tropical juice instead. When I went for my booking in appointment and my iron levels came back, I was at about 11. Which is on the low side, but still within the range of normal. And I wish I still had it, but basically I did a blood test a couple of years ago to check my levels, and my iron came back at the same amount, 11, low, but in the range of normal. And so when my midwife said, oh, it's a bit low, 11, and I'd really like to supplement you, I said no. And I decided to just do what I've always done, which is to improve my diet and see if my iron levels also improve. So in a couple of weeks I'm going to have a repeat blood test and I'm going to see how my iron levels are doing. Have I managed to increase them on a vegan diet without any iron, without any animal products? I mean, I've done it before, so it seems like I'd be able to do it again. So just because your iron levels are low does not necessarily mean that you have anemia. It just means that you're more at risk of developing anemia if you don't do anything to address it. You could just supplement, and most of the time doctors will want to give you ferrous sulfate, which is the cheapest, nastiest form of iron supplementation. You're better off going with iron bisglycinate, which is much, much gentler and much easier for your body to absorb. So if you want to go down the supplementation route, absolutely. You don't have to change your diet. You could just supplement. So I've got a smoothie recipe, which I have used throughout each of my pregnancies, and it has changed a bit. When I punched it into Chronometer, it told me that it had 19% iron, which is really high. And that would be like if you drank the whole thing. So even if you just drank half, like you'd be getting like 9.5. So you don't have to eat leafy greens. to boost your iron in pregnancy on a vegan diet. You can eat lots of different things that taste so delicious and are way more appealing to most pregnant people. I hope this has been helpful, and I will include a separate video where I just do the smoothie and you can follow along, and I'll be back with another video really soon.